Good. Wonderful to be with you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming. Welcome to Legal Growth Podcast, where we dive into strategies, challenges, success stories shaping the future of law firms. I'm your host, Aaron Fulk, and together with Legal Growth Partners, we'll bring you in-depth conversations with top legal professionals, industry innovators, and firm leaders. Our goal is simple: share practical insights, innovative strategies, and real-world advice to help your law firm scale, adapt, and thrive. Whether you're navigating growth challenges or looking to boost your business development, you are in the right place. Let's dive in. I am so excited. This week, our guest is, some people call you William, some people call you Bill, but I'm going to call you Bill because you got it written down. Bill Martucci. Which one do you prefer?
Oh, Bill is great. Thanks so much, really.
Perfect. So we'll call you Bill today. So Bill, so excited to have you. I just have a couple quick questions I think so many people could learn from you. So let's just start off. Give us a quick overview of how you chose law and how you chosen to get into the specialty of law you practice.
Sounds great. Well, thanks so much, Aaron. Really wonderful to be with you and with friends and colleagues. It means a great deal. I think, like many of us, there were a couple of features of law that were particularly exciting. One was the intellectual engagement of law, the complexity of it. Another would be the societal aspects of law. That one of my wonderful professors said that law grows out of societal needs and is tied to socioeconomic conditions. And so I think there's a special role there. And then finally, really just a love of people. I think particularly the field that I'm in, which is business litigation and employment strategic policy issues. If you respect and care about people, the rights of people, the responsibilities of people, then you really have this opportunity that's quite exceptional in the law. So I think all those things were motivators for me, and it's been a very special time, truly.
I love that. Oh, I love the adding the people part, because I don't think people talk about that enough in law. What has been your biggest growth success story through your years?
Well, it's such a great question, and truly, when I think about it for myself, I also, in a broad sense, think about it for others in the law. Because so much of the work I do is trial work, and because I've been so fortunate to be involved in law firm leadership and management, I think of two areas truly. One is all the trial work from New York to Los Angeles, and particularly thinking of a trial that we had in Los Angeles that was quite meaningful in that it was a wage and hour case, which sounds kind of, what's that about? But it really, in essence, was a deep dive into the responsibilities of certain professionals and whether they were exempt under California wage and hour law or not. What was particularly intriguing about it is there were 10 plaintiffs. It was during COVID, so we were behind our plastic aspects and all had our masks on, which on this day of Halloween of 2025 is extra special. And the jury was all women and all people of various backgrounds. As you might imagine, the diversity in Los Angeles is extraordinary. So all that together came together in a special jury win that was a trial over about 6 weeks. And so I think in a lot of ways that was the culmination of many, many efforts. On the leadership management front, there was a program at the Harvard Business School, Leadership in the Professional Services Firms. And it was so striking because you came to realize people in various professional service firms were there, from accounting and consulting, advisory firms, law firms, engineering, the list goes on, and all had the same kinds of issues. How do we engage ourselves and others ever more meaningfully? How do we address changing markets? How do we embrace the newest entrants to our field so that they're engaged and excited about the possibilities of the future? And frankly, how do you delight clients? How do you really understand the business and help that business drive forward? And in that regard, your success is tied as well. So those areas are just kind of illustrations. Overall, frankly, it's been the engagement with people. I'm so fortunate here at Chuck Hardy to have such wonderful colleagues and clients. And so it's really engaging in a very special way each day, truly, in very different ways, but that's what makes it exciting.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So you're traveling a lot.
Yes, that the nature of our practice truly is national and to a certain extent global. So
Okay.
we travel a great deal. But the virtue of that, candidly, is you are often a visitor, but it makes you ever more respectful of that given locale and the influences, particularly since we do so much jury work, what may influence that venue in such a way that you can identify with the people and be accepted as part of them, part of the community.
Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, so this will probably go a lot with what you're saying. I was gonna say switch skills, but I think this
Sure.
would be important to this. What's your favorite like non-legal skill that surprisingly is very helpful in your law career?
It's such a great question. It truly is. Whether I have this skill or not, others would know best. But I think it would be engagement with people, leading others, being part of a team. I coach a great number of youth teams. And what I mean by that is kind of basketball, baseball. And I find that very sincerely, uh, the involvement as a coach in connection with basketball has been most extraordinary as a growth experience because a lot of the teams have been teams, of course, that my children have been involved in. I'm really thankful for having had those opportunities over the years, but also a lot of teams in the city. And you meet lots of people with different backgrounds. And of course, in addition to the players, you meet the parents and the uncles and the friends. And so you really become part of that community. You're working so that you can succeed. You hope to win a lot of games. It's kind of the American culture. But frankly, you also realize that the game and the discipline of the game is so valuable for character development. So I remember the Boys and Girls Club as a young boy, fortunate to be a part of it, and then now as an adult to be a part of it. We often spoke about life character building skills, which sounds a little bit not so exciting to a young player. But the reality is, what we learn from those games is the ups and downs, the fancy word, vicissitudes of life. We learn resilience and we learn how to play together. And sometimes we're going to be the star, and sometimes we're going to be less than that, but we're all key to the team. So I think, frankly, that level of excitement and team has really helped in my personal and professional life as a father, as a spouse, uh, as a law firm professional. And it sounds counterintuitive, but I think that's great. Finally, I'd say that when I was with younger children, was deeply involved in Cub Scouts, and this will sound rather funny, but serving as the mascot for various Cub Scout meetings and trying to have the attention of first and second graders and third graders, boys, was quite an experience. And I think I learned a lot from that as well.
Oh, that's wild. That's wild. Are you currently coaching any teams right now?
Yes, just some small teams in the Boys and Girls Club, just kind of second and third graders. A lot of fun, really. And
Basketball?
sometimes, yeah, sometimes candidly, even preschoolers, which can be so much fun, really.
Oh, I bet that's so cute and chaotic.
Yes, chaotic is kind of the key.
You're chaotic all at the same time. I love that. Looking ahead, what trends or changes do you see shaping the future of law firms? And how are you positioning yourself and your firm to stay competitive in this really quickly changing world right now?
Well, it's such a dynamic time in law firms. I think a couple of key comments. The organization of law firms is changing in a really dramatic way. And so, really, I feel fortunate the participation in Harvard Business School leadership in the professional services setting has been really helpful because more and more there are firms of fair size that are truly throughout the country and in many respects some firms throughout the world. How do you lead? How do you contribute in such a large organization? I was fortunate as a young lawyer to be a judicial appellate clerk and then to be in the Navy JAG Corps. And the Navy JAG Corps was remarkable because there were lawyers throughout the country and throughout the world, some on ships, some on land, and learning kind of what it means to be part of a large organization and how one can make a contribution to such a major event. So this is going to sound unusual, but in the practice of law, there are many really exceptional lawyers who are in small firms, sometimes solo firms, and they collaborate with others for larger cases, but they do a lot of great work in small settings. And then there's a fair number of lawyers who are in very large settings. And so I think what we're seeing is, as business changes, as society changes, as the role of law changes, we're finding the internal organizational leadership of firms is changing a great deal. And how about more externally, internally as well, but externally? Our society is so different now. If you think back to 10 years, 20 years, 30, 40 years, the society that we were a part of was a bit more straightforward, a bit more one size fits all. And now, so many wonderful ways of living and appearing and going about life. And so I think that impacts law firms and the law, because if law is for the benefit of society, then how can it best undertake those efforts? It's very, very exciting to be in a profession and in a society where the role of so many people is now ever more engaging. So women are deeply committed to leadership and key roles, and we have people of all backgrounds involved. And although right now in 2025 we have a little bit of a challenge in terms of just how we gracefully embrace all, the reality is that it's that inclusiveness that really moves us forward. And so I would say, in terms of impacting law firms, impacting society, impacting business, it's really two key elements. One is the inclusion of lots of people of various backgrounds from throughout the world, the excitement of that, understanding different perspectives. And the other, of course, is technology, right? And so all of us today in this time frame of 2025, whether we look at the stock market or we look at our day-to-day work, oh my gosh, artificial intelligence, what does AI mean? And some have said that it might be as dramatic as like the printing press, in the sense that it just catapults us forward. And so that's a perfect intersection of law and society, because now technology creates so many issues, many great benefits, but many challenges. How do you sort of balance those? How do you provide that framework so that social media has the goodness of it, but also kind of limits the limitations of it? We know that there's questions about loneliness. There's questions about how can we connect, even though we're on our devices all the time now. Do we have those same special one-on-one and group relationships? And so I think really it's an exciting time, because although it's rather challenging right now, during this transformational time, we see lots of excitement, lots of future. And I think those trends, ever more inclusive society, although it's a bit of a pullback now, I think that's going to be the big picture for the long term and for the term of success. And then technology, how do we integrate that so we still have our human touch and we're still very much into the moment of respecting others, but how do we do that ever more, maybe not effectively in an efficiency sense, but effectively in a connection sense? I think that's kind of the balance that's really tough. And you see that. We were fortunate to say hello before we began today. And for our younger citizens and for those in high school and junior high, gosh, the impact of social media is so huge. So how do we kind of balance that? But those are great challenges to have. It's an exciting time in the world, and it's an exciting time in our profession in law, frankly.
I love that. Okay, well, what is your one? And I didn't tell you were going to ask this question. I'm going to throw it at you just because I love hearing you speak. What is your one piece of advice you would give to one of those younger citizens, I'm going to use your word, that is thinking about going into law?
If you're thinking about going into law, a couple of simple things. Be open-minded, because there's so many paths within the law, within business, within government, within public service that you can pursue. Keep in mind that it's a long, long process, so that the excitement of it is you're always learning, you're always growing, there's always change. In that regard, be resilient. And then finally, just enjoy the privilege of learning and growing and working with other people, because really, although there's a lot of day-to-day that's pretty challenging and pretty technical, what a privilege to be part of a profession that actually can do a lot of good things for people and truly is essential to the fabric and the social cohesiveness of a wonderful society moving forward, hopefully for the benefit of all.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Bill. You were such a breath of fresh air. I loved listening to you. And thank you for joining us on the Legal Growth Podcast, presented by Legal Growth Partners. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, drop us a review, share it with your colleagues, because great insights are even better when shared. For more tips and tools to help grow your practice, visit legalgrowthpartners.com. Until next time, keep innovating, keep growing, and keep smiling.